Dear representatives of the media, dear colleagues, welcome to today's press conference of the President of the Government of the Republic of North Macedonia, Mr. Zaev, and the President of the European Council, Mr. Donald Tusk. First of all, the President of the Government of the Republic of North Macedonia will have his address, and then the President of the European Council, Mr. Tusk. Also, I would like to inform you, due to the limited time, we don't have questions foreseen. Please, thank you. Dear President of the European Council, Mr. Donald Tusk, dear members of the Cabinet of the President, dear members of the government, dear members of the media, dear citizens, today we are especially honored to welcome the proven friend of our country, the President of the European Council, Mr. Donald Tusk. Allow me, on my behalf, on behalf of the government of the Republic of North Macedonia, and on behalf of the citizens of our country, to express our gratitude for the support and assistance during his overall 5-year term of office. The President Tusk did not miss a single opportunity to affirm the friendship with our country, the aspirations of North Macedonia to become a member of the European Union, as well as his dedication to the EU enlargement process. In the period until the upcoming session of the European Council, let us crown this mutual friendship and support with a joint historical success in October. Joint because it is the joint interest of both North Macedonia and the European Union. This is a period of the greatest importance for achievement of the strategic goals of our country, with a long-term and substantial significance for our citizens. One of those aims is the confirmation of the date for the opening of the EU accession negotiations in October. In this direction, all our efforts are aimed toward the strengthening engagement and a full dedication to the provision of strong support from the country members of the EU for a decision on starting the accession negotiations. After 10 positive recommendations from the European Commission, the optimistic conclusions of the Council in 2018 and 2019, and the results that we created, we are more and more convinced that we are prepared to tackle all challenges brought by the accession negotiation process. Our expectations and ambitions for the Council of the EU on the 15th of October and the European Council on the 17th and 18th of October are the adoption of a decision for the opening of negotiations for accession without further ado. The President Tusk will chair the session, this historical session for us of the European Council, where the leaders of the EU member countries should confirm this decision. That is why I have informed him in detail about all efforts that we have made in the past 2.5, but also in the past 15 years as a country candidate for membership in the EU that expects to initiate negotiations. We expect that this will be followed by a call to the European Commission to start with the preparation of the negotiational framework for our country, and that the first intergovernmental conference will be scheduled, which should be held by the end of this year or the beginning of the next. There is no doubt, and it is perfectly clear to us, that with the initiation of the accession negotiation, we enter a deep and long transformational journey towards the aim, membership in the European Union. This transformational journey, with a clear European perspective, is the start of an intensive work for transformation of our country in accordance with the policies and the rules of the EU and in the interest of our citizens. This process has been undoubtedly proven to be a necessary tool that will generate positive and successful stories in the country's candidates. The progress achieved in the country is obvious in the reform agenda at the domestic level and its neighborly relations, as well as in the overall democratic transformation that has been achieved so far. The obligation for implementation of further results continue, especially in the field of the rule of law. We are completely engaged in tackling the challenges that we face, in accordance with the European values and standards. Within this framework, we see the debate regarding the law on public prosecutor's office. The Racket case is a strong test for the judiciary and the success of the reforms. The institutional resolving of this and all similar cases will prove the independence of the judicial system and the clear political will for fight against corruption. This is the European way. This is the way of the legal state and the rule of law. With these beliefs, dear citizens, today we welcomed and we will send away the honest friend of the Republic of North Macedonia, the President of the European Council, Mr. Tusk, with whom, of course, we will meet in Brussels next month, where we will jointly, hopefully together, the date for the awaited date for opening the negotiations with the European Union. Thank you. Thank you, President. Now we'll have Mr. Tusk address you. Please.
Well, thank you very much, Prime Minister, dear Zoran, for receiving me in Skopje today. It is great to be back again. Your country's efforts over the past years have been remarkable. Together, we have withstood one of the biggest migration crises that Europe has faced since the Second World War. It was for all of us a very difficult and demanding test of responsibility and effectiveness of action. Your country passed this test better than many EU member states. You have also found a solution to the dramatic political crisis in your country. A solution based on democratic principles, decency and common sense. And through your friendship treaty with Bulgaria and the Prespa agreement with Greece, you have become champions of political rationalism and political maturity in your region. These achievements are truly impressive, internationally recognized, and should not be wasted by the EU. When the EU leaders met in June, 3 months ago, they committed to deliver a clear and substantive decision in October on whether to open accession talks with you and your neighbor, Albania. I expressed my personal views clearly back in June. Your country, within the last 2 years, has done everything that was expected of you for the EU to be able to launch the negotiations in line with the European Commission's recommendation. That continues to be my strong conviction. Your country has done everything. That is also why I came to North Macedonia today. I wish to make it crystal clear. There is no doubt in Brussels about your political commitment to the rule of law and to fighting corruption. Of course, anybody can at any time and anywhere do more, especially when it comes to implementation. But we know very well that your government is determined and consistent in this, also as regards the continuation of the work of the Special Prosecutor's Office. Finally, allow me one metaphor. The EU accession process resembles a marathon more than a 100-meter sprint. And as a dedicated runner, I know what I'm talking about. To reach the finish line, continued strength, endurance, and focus is needed. And sometimes, I should also say, patience. I have no doubt that North Macedonia possesses more than enough of all these qualities, and everyone should appreciate it. Skopje is the best possible place where I would like to appeal to the leaders of the European Union. Now you do your share, because North Macedonia has already done its share. Thank you. Thank you.
Dear representatives of the media, here is the end of today's press conference. Thank you for your presence.